Okay, it says we are live. All right, so this is going a little early. I guess we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to go, of course, as I do this all the time. I always go to my other page. I got my two computers as we talk about, and then I create a watch party on the other page as well, and then start inviting people and stuff like that. Uh, let's see. Let's see. We got. Yep. So just in case for those people who are joining us for the first time, heard about it, are curious as to what is going on, we want to welcome everybody to the Front Door Show. This is the Front Door Show where I interview, it's one-on-one DJ interview. And today we have Luis Alberto Morales, our DJ LuiG. Um, Before we get started, I always tell everybody that I interview, just in case, there might not be a lot of people who know you, surprisingly, but but go ahead and tell them who you are, your style of music, how,
Just in general about me. My name is DJ LuiG. So I've been DJing for about, let's see, I started in '07. Uh, as far as style as music, I guess I will consider myself a Latin DJ. Um, but I also do like hip hop house because when I do weddings, and that's what I mostly do around this time, I gotta be a little bit diverse. So, but I mostly play, or people mostly know for Latin music. Um, I been DJing, like I said, from '07. So I started doing house parties. The beginning, that's how I started getting known. Then after that, I started doing halls. From there, started doing clubs. Then from clubs, started doing concerts. Then I had kids, so I had to start doing weddings and quinceañeras and like private events. And that's what I'm actually doing lately. I DJ at the clubs here and there whenever I have a chance, but usually around this time it was gonna start like wedding season. I actually got a lot of cancellations, or there was a lot of weddings that got moved on for next year, or there's that got moved on to October. So usually right now I would be like loading my truck, getting all the speakers
yep.
to go to to go to a party.
So I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is that when you said you started in 2007, what kind of music were you playing in 2007? What was
So mhm.
your format, or what was it that you were doing?
So at that time, reggaeton started like coming out really strong.
Okay.
So we would do like house parties. Obviously, it was like underage house parties. Where you go pay your entrance fee at the house, like $5-10. You get like a little cup, and then you can drink like beer or like just underage drinking.
Hey, we've never done that before.
No, that was the past. It doesn't really happen anymore.
But
But
but you're talking 2007. That was kind of the norm of a lot of people doing,
right, exactly. Like
and
nowadays it's different.
all you guys have done it. Don't BS us.
So what so yeah, we started playing a lot of reggaeton. Bachata also started being really strong with Aventura, Grupo Extreme, Optimo, stuff like that. Um, and then obviously it was like juke. It was like the Chicago signature music. A lot of like Chicago house music, and obviously hip hop. Stan Calais, all those type of songs. It started coming out. So, but I would, people really knew me as like a Spanish DJ, like reggaeton, bachata, merengue, salsa, and then that's why they would hire me to be their DJ at their events.
So in 2000, so where did you get your inspiration as far as doing your
DJ.
Yeah.
Money, man. Money, because I started going to events myself, but I hate paying. So I was like, I told one of my friends, I'm like, man, like, you know what? We should start making our own events, and then just charge them like they charge us. And then I always being very friendly. So I knew a lot of people. So I started like, you know, texting people, hey, I'm gonna throw a party here, just come through. And before that, I had like a little part-time job after high school. Um, so I saved some money, bought myself some speakers, some mixer. I started practicing, um, and then just kind of self-taught. And I had one of my friends. His name is Arnold DJ Spanish. I think some people know him as. He showed me just the basics of how to mix. Um, and from there, you know, started doing my own events, and then the first one went very, very good. And then I was like, man, I really like this, and I like the attention. So I just continue to do
You
it.
got the bug. As we say, you got the bug.
Yeah.
Um, so that, I mean, interesting. So I mean, I say interesting because I was just curious. So you were all that you start off with CDs. If that was,
Oh
that's what
yeah,
you,
that was
yeah,
the CDs and MP3s.
right.
The CDs that you can put MP3s to it, and that's how I started. I never did vinyl, to be honest. I don't know, for some reason, never caught my attention. Um, I started with some American DJ equipment. So yeah, I started with CDs. I would download music for, it was called back then, LimeWire.
Yeah, LimeWire.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You remember that LimeWire? Old school.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so I would download music from there and put them on CDs, burn them. So when I used to go to events, I would bring like my pack of CDs, and then I had them order in like reggaeton, bachata, house. So I know like which
Right.
one was what, and then I would write on the CDs and like the names of the songs, so I would know what CD to go to play that whatever song.
So
So
yeah, so that's where so you became kind of a known DJ, I guess, in the Latin market, but it was the Latin younger market. If I'm not, when I say younger market from what I'm accustomed to per se.
mhm.
So if you say high school, what year in high school did you like? What year?
So I graduated in '06.
Okay,
I
right.
went to Roosevelt High School. It's by Kimball and what is that street? Kimball and Wilson.
Okay, so you're up north,
So I was from the north side.
right?
I created like a little entertainment, we call them back then. So we had like, there was like different groups with different entertainments. So that's how it started. So we will have like a different house every weekend where we used to throw parties. Um, and then like I will partner up with different entertainments or different groups, like from the south side, people from the north side, to just make events. And from there, we started having a lot of people, so we moved into halls. So we rent halls and throw events. We did some events at Mambo's. I used to DJ for Sangria, Radio Star. What else was that around that time? Um, then we I one of my friends, he actually passed away. His name was House Tech. We with him, we started doing one club called Warehouse in Melrose Park, which I think that was like the one that actually I got very known um, in Chicago, because man, we used to pack like about 1,500 people every Saturday, and then we did like 3 concerts. We did a lot of phone parties. Um, I also got to know a lot of other DJs. Around that time, I became some DJ group called the Henchmen. I don't know if you
Yep, yep,
know.
yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep. Yeah, that was if I'm not mistaken, the henchman, it was Mario nonstop DJ and all the guys that were
right. So yeah,
yes,
when I was there, it was Metro, Nonstop,
right.
Neurotic,
Mhm.
Slim, House Tech. I mean, Extreme, Ray Ray,
Yep, yep,
and a bunch of others. I'm pretty sure that you know them, a lot of them.
right.
Yeah, so I Quick also
Hmm.
he
Right.
was the one that actually called me to be part of Henchman, and then I always looked up to them because I kind of grew up with them. They used to do a lot of events. uh, there's this place called Major Hall over here by Grand
Right.
and Central.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So here's something and I'm gonna say the obvious in
Uh-huh.
the sense of that's something I noticed because one of the guys I hang around with or is really
Hmm.
good friends with is his name Luis Molina, and they used to do El Cielos back in the days. And I
Hmm.
remember DJ Boom was up there, and then there was Party Boy Pete. Now, one of the things that I would recognize is that you guys had a really good Central American following, or Colombian following, or it wasn't strictly Puerto Rican, it wasn't strictly
Hmm.
Mexican. You guys had a whole different following that kind of because you mentioned about Wilson, and let's be honest with you, that in Wilson and up in that area, the very north side of Chicago, you had a lot
Right.
of Central Americans, and being a Colombian, Ecuadorian, Guatemalan, and that in itself had a crew of its own or a following of its own.
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah,
I
I'm actually I'm Guatemalan, so I knew a lot of Central American people.
yep,
Um, so for that Central American community, we usually have like a picnic.
yep.
They call it picnic. They don't call it festival, but whatever. So every year we have a picnic, which all the people from Central America, just celebrate the independence. It's in September. So, at the school that I went to, it was very Latino. So, we used to meet a lot of people from Ecuador, Colombia,
Yep,
Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras.
yep.
And these people like reggaeton like me. So I felt very connected with them.
And
So,
especially like the whole thing with Nicky Jam going to Colombia and stuff like that. I knew that there was a big following of reggaeton. I knew that at the time. And when we had did the first reggaeton concert here in Chicago in
correct.
2005 with Baby Rasta and Gringo and Evie Queen over at the Aragon,
Hmm.
I remember I was doing Rancho Luna at the time. I don't know if you remember Rancho Luna, and I was doing that
Oh,
was
I love Rancho Lula. Yeah.
yeah, that was what we did, the reggaeton nights on Thursday nights there. And I was just amazed because because of the fact that when I did the first reggaeton concert, it was called
Hmm.
Reggaeton Megaton. That was the first concert. Go good, look it up and stuff like that. I'm the one. I had grandmothers tell me I brought the island to Chicago, basically, because I did. Basically, and then like I said, that Evie Queen, Baby Rasta Gringo, Checa, Noenta Mias, all these groups that came in, and then obviously Daddy Yankee came in afterwards, and Wisin Yandel.
Hmm.
I just remember that and forgive me that I didn't know that reggaeton. I thought, oh yeah, Puerto Ricans are only going to show up. Was I wrong with that?
Yeah,
Because
it's a lot of Central American people loved
oh
it.
my God, I was like, I go, you're not Puerto Rican? What? And I remember that was like kind of a dumbfounded question. And here's a guy who doesn't speak Spanish and who's loving reggaeton. But I just remember that and that's where I kind of like it opened my eyes, especially working with DJ Boom, Party
Hmm.
Boy Pete, and all these guys. And it was just it was for me, it was like fresh blood per se. Like it was like, oh man, this is great, man. This is a whole different market that that's added to the mix, of and let's face it, 2006 to 2011. Not to say reggaeton isn't strong now, but I remember that was the hard when it first came out, and it was just like anything that was dropped by Don Omar or
Yeah, I think it spiked up after Gasolina.
yeah, well, yeah. I remember that. I ain't gonna mention who, but I just remember the first time I played Gasolina at Club PM. I remember the first time I'm playing
Yeah,
it, and I'm looking at the crowd, and they're loving it, right? Because they never heard it before, right? And I remember
right.
one of the DJs. I'm not gonna tell who it is, and he did like, it's okay. And I was like, what? I go, dude, this is going to be the hit. This is going to be because I just recognized the catch, gasoline, that was the catch. It was just, and anything else that's out there as far as a catch, just something real quick. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be big. And sure enough, it became the new Suavemente,
Right, exactly.
exactly. Because as soon,
Yeah,
as soon as you heard that hook, that was it. So, I mean, so that gave you your springboard is what you're basically telling me that were telling us that it gave you that springboard of you becoming who you became as far as a
yeah,
live
that's
DJ.
yeah, that was like my platform to reach where the level I got. I got to DJ like at a lot of events. Sorry. I was able to DJ like a House of Blues,
Nice.
and I started DJing like a bigger events. With that type of music, a lot of more people got into it. Actually, I used to live in Guatemala, so back in Guatemala in '98, like reggaeton was started like coming out strong over there too. So I just follow the same style of music that I used to listen to back when I was living in Guatemala. Um, and yeah, like music and DJing opened a lot of doors. I got to meet a lot of great people. Um, I you know doing events every weekend, you get to meet a lot of different people. So it was I always liked it, so I stuck to it. And then bachata, I always like love to dance bachata. I actually used to go also to like salsa socials. I think I see you there a couple of times on Tuesdays, Alhambra.
Yeah.
What all this Mondays? I forgot what Mondays used to be at.
Well, I used to do Mondays at Rancho Luna. I used to do that. Then,
Rancho Luna.
yeah,
That was Rancho Lunes Peterson, and
yeah.
and
It was
it's a
Pete's
Kentucky
place.
now, right?
Pardon?
I think it's a Kentucky chicken now.
I no, it's like a shrimp place or something like that. It's like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's not what it, but it was Pete. He was Cuban. The guy that used to own it. He passed away a couple years ago, or quite a few years ago, and stuff like that. So Pete used to own it and stuff like that. I remember it was Monday night salsa night, Tuesday was their comedy night, Wednesday was their gay night, Thursday was the reggaeton night, Friday and Saturday was the live band night, and then Sunday was the teen gay night. So I was doing all 7 days a week there. Oh no, 6 days a week. I didn't do the comedy
Oh
thing.
wow.
And then I was also doing Club PM at the time as well. But I was doing Club PM. Remember on Fridays I was with Tony and Elite, and they were doing the college events. And then Saturday I was doing more of the Spanish rock and the kind of it was we were trying to I was mixing it up a lot. I was doing a lot, just mixing it up. But that was kind of where and then that's why I decided to do the first reggaeton concert at the
Uh-huh.
Aragon, and then we did it at the Congress Theater, with Wisin
Yeah, those are
Yandel.
huge venues. That's that's
But
that's a
I
lot
mean,
of people. Like yeah,
well, I
just the
mean,
feeling of DJing in front of so many people is just exciting.
well, here's a lot of people don't realize, dude. I remember when I did the first reggaeton concert. It's called Reggaeton Megaton. That's the Ivy Queen concert.
Mhm.
That was a big risk for everybody because I had said in the beginning, I says, you know what, nobody's brought it here. But I knew we weren't going to get the 8,000 people the Aragon could fit. I knew it already. I partnered with Henry Cardenas, and he was my
Oh, nice.
partner in it. And Abel Del Rio, he was another partner of it. And everybody knew that, okay, guess what? We only did 2,500 people. but that had to happen in order to reggaeton to make it. And it really did. And once that happened, then it was easy. Then there was other promoters, and then there were other people who were doing, started bringing in Don Amar and Tego Calderon, and and
Hmm.
and then I brought Pitbull here in 2005. I brought Pitbull to Volcan. I was the first one to bring Pitbull,
Oh,
but
nice.
I knew that this, it's always that kind of where I just kind of knew that this things have to happen in order for other things to happen. It may
Right.
not be successful, but I knew the long term. And let's put it this way: I didn't make a dime. I didn't make a dime at the Aragon, but I was making a lot of money on the Thursday night. Because
Right.
the regular night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just an investment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an investment to the scene and stuff like that. So I kind of always been that way. Even like when it came to bachata and stuff, I brought Mochi and Alejandra. I was I said, nah, man, has to happen and stuff like that. When we brought him to Bocan and stuff like that,
Hmm.
I knew it was an investment because people didn't want to take the risk. I knew what I was doing because I was doing it on a weekly basis of a
Right.
crowd that was coming to see bachata, reggaeton, salsa, and stuff like that. And
Right.
very well.
No, the same people go this every Thursday. There has to be like a rotation
Well,
of
even
clientele.
to this day, up to this point, even me bringing Tito Puente Jr. and bringing
Hmm.
all these salsa bands, Lucito Rosario, and all these the Cuban bands, and as well as the bands from New York and the bands from Puerto Rico and all the
Uh-huh.
singers and stuff like that. Um, I just always felt that, I got to do something that's good for the audience, good for the scene, and good for the industry. It's always been about and I've been always been that type of guy that says, what, let's push the Latin market. And this is about
Hmm.
the Latin market. And I've always been about that. I've been, and nothing to take away from the house aspect that I did as far as vinyl and stuff like that, because
Hmm.
that's still always going to be with me. But because at the same time, I have to make sure that this market needs to grow. And we know for a fact in Chicago, and this is a fact, there is no tropical radio station in Chicago. That's
Yeah,
it,
that's true.
it is
It's
true.
always has been like that.
And it's unfortunate because I remember I was very close with all the head people of the radio station. And I remember the X Tropical, that was probably the last of the tropical radio station. And Monstro, the Miguel,
Right. Yeah. 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 That
these
was the
guys
first
were
one that kind of brought it, right? Yeah.
right. It was big, and I remember that was the whole thing. When they stopped doing the salsa aspect of it and stuff like that, I said, okay, you know what? I have to step up what I need to do this for the people who love salsa. And listen, look what's happening. There's no question about it when it comes to salsa music, wherever it's from Colombia, whether if it's Peru, if it's from Puerto Rico, if it's from New York, you know, and especially when it comes to live music,
Mhm.
I think it needs to still be present. And hence, why I'm involved with the Chicago Salsa Congress for 19 years, why I'm involved with the Bachata Congress,
Wow.
for the past 6 years. I'm involved with all these aspects of the Latin music because I want Latin music to survive. I want Latin music to be part of this, and there's so many people out there. And you're telling me that your age and stuff like that, but like it like the grandmother said to me, I brought the island to Chicago. Well, guess what? You have
Yeah.
grandmothers and mothers out there that still love that music and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
can't forget about grandma and mom and dad, of the scene. And so that's why I'm always pushing, the tropical market per se.
Yeah.
And
Especially
that's
Colombians, they love salsa.
oh my God, and stuff like that. I think the last time me and you DJ that was at Mauricio's event, if I'm not mistaken. That was
Yeah,
at
I was looking through my messages before I got in an interview with you, and then yeah, I saw that you called me to DJ. Will be part of Spy Bar on Thursdays.
right, right, right.
Yeah, I
That's what,
think that
and
was
that's
the last one of our last kind of conversations.
right,
So yeah,
right,
yeah, we
and
did
that's
that.
what. Well,
Yeah.
Mauricio, I don't know if you know this, but Mauricio, I know Mauricio before he did the Colombian nights per se. And Colombian nights technically were on Sundays at this place called Saceros. That's what it was called before. And
Hmm.
that was back in 2002 or something like that.
Oh
And
wow.
it was Sunday nights, man, was the place to be. It was called it's one of the guys at River North. That was the name of the club, and then it was Costa Ceros. It became Infinity, and then became Andromedas. That was the kind of the what you call it. But the Sunday nights was the Columbia nights, and man, what an event per se. But then Mauricio, he crafted it and moved it to, I think, the north side as well. Then he moved it to different places, and he's always kept the Latin tropical market, but he has a different market now. And obviously it's changed, not the same old guys
Yeah,
go there like they were before and stuff like that. So I still get his Colombian people that come to my events on a Tuesday or on a Friday, Saturday at Dylan's and stuff like that, because they're older now, but they like reggaeton like everyone else. And trust me, it isn't like we don't play reggaeton at our events, but reggaeton has changed as well. The clientele has kind of changed as well. I love
yeah,
the
it had
reggaeton.
mixed out with banda.
Well, that and it just evolved and stuff like that. Even like today, the reggaeton of today, what's happening with Becky G and Carol G and all these artists that it's good, it's beautiful, man. I love what's going on with reggaeton, but we can't, you can't stay stagnant in the music business. It always has to evolve and stuff like that. I think that's what.
Right. Yeah, it changes. I guess time to time. I mean, for example, like let's say back in 08, 07, you couldn't mix reggaeton with banda. It was like two different like types of vibes. Like it's either you have only reggaeton and that's it, or salsa and bachata, and you have your banda group like a los globos or Volcan or their events. But now it has become like in one. Everybody loves banda and bachata, and then you had to combine it in order to like sell your nights. I mean, at least that's what I've seen.
Well, I mean, I think Ivan got smart to that. Ivan Fernandez, when he was doing I remember, this is a true story. I remember after the reggaeton megaton, Angel and Chris, and I'll never forget this. And because I used to do marketing and stuff like that, I was standing in front of at the Aragon and stuff like that, and I was doing the marketing for Club PM at the time. And I remember I was there at a concert, and it was a banda concert. And here comes Angel and Chris walking in because they're performing with the banda group that was there. And I was like, "What the hell you guys doing here?" Because I knew them from when I used to do work out in Miami. That's where I used to meet all the guys and the Latin Billboard conferences and all the at the Latin Billboard conference, meeting everybody. And Angel and Chris are walking in, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing here on this night?" and stuff like that. They go, "Oh, Ivan hired us to work," and I was like, this kind of blew my mind. But then, I hear
Yeah,
them
he
on.
saw it. He saw it coming.
Yeah, and he just and then Plaza Garibaldi, all the reggaeton artists and all the bachata artists, So it just became the third generation of Mexicanos basically in Chicago. And let's be honest with you, Mexicanos are a big part of Chicago. That's where
Oh yeah, of
that's
course.
that's where and since they're the big part of it, they're the big money of it, in this business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've seen the phases and changes, and again, it can't stay stagnant. It's got to evolve and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that's I give it I give him props for that and stuff like that. I now is gone global. Everything everything is pop at this point now. Between bachata, reggaeton, even American artists are going into that reggaeton feel and stuff like that because it's just
exactly.
it's so popular and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they know the market is good. I mean, they're filling out arenas, so you gotta get into it.
Don't hate. You can't hate.
Exactly.
It's funny because they talk about like Bad Bunny, the Bad Bunny who it technically did Latin trap, right? And I remember that was discussion. Latin trap was been discussed with us since 2009, 2010, and it was very the reggaeton rap, but it wasn't called Latin trap yet. And we said, how is this going to go and stuff like that. And I think when Bad Bunny had broke out, and this is probably about 2 years now, 3 years that Bad Bunny had broke out. you know, I personally was like, man, I kind of like this, man, because it's different. It feels different. I like the way it did. Nicky Jam coming out with his Phoenix album and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, this is really good. I knew from the very beginning of Latin trap that
Mhm.
music, as again, couldn't be stagnant. It was going to have change. And then who jumps on it? Shakira jumps on it. All these pop artists are jumping on it because there's some cool stuff. Then the bachata artists are jumping on it. There's all these artists that were doing it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. If and I probably will tell that to anybody out there. If you're a rockero, you're a salsero, don't just because they say the word Latin trap say no. I'm not going to listen to it, because there's a lot of good stuff out there, and honestly, there is a lot of good stuff out there, and you'd be surprised how some beautiful music out there. It isn't in any style of music there can be some rough words, or they're talking.
Yeah,
That's
always.
that's just anything. But that happens in rock and English rock and stuff like that. They could be talking about some stupid shit as well. But if you give it a chance, man, and then obviously with the Bad Bunny, I would hear people, oh man, I don't like him. I said, why? Why don't you like him?
Well,
He's
they don't like them, but it's filling up arenas.
big time and stuff like that. And I guess it's a style, like that. And I just remember, dude, I remember. I'm not gonna mention who it is again. That's another DJ. When I first got into playing bachata, I remember, and this is not bachata like it is now. I'm talking about, the Dominican hardcore bachata, and they would tell me, "No, man, I'm not gonna play that." That's
Anthony
that's
Santos.
yeah, yes. I was like, what, why would you not play that? Like, what? Oh no, that's Hebrew music. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? And I was just like, no, man, it's beautiful, And I was just like, and then he kind of seen the crowd. And I think once you see the crowd, how they get into it, then you realize there's beauty behind the art of the
Yeah.
songs and stuff like that. And I think that's where I think we are kind of.
Also when you go to like other states, let's say for example, if you go to New York or California or Miami, you have these different vibe than when you are here in Chicago, because those are the places where a lot of music is created all the time, and a lot of new stuff comes out first, and then we kind of get it like a few months after. So every time I go to Miami or New York, I just love the vibe that I want to bring it here, and then I know some people will love it, but it's just a little hard because they're not used to it. Like let's say for example, I went to New York. That's when I first started listening to Dembow. I was like, when I first started listening to it, like it blew my mind because it was just different. Like the style was so like reggaeton, but like super up tempo. So I was like, man, I have to play this. So I played it at a club, and people were like, what is that? And then I'm talking about like back in the day when I used to do DJ more at clubs. Well, little by little, you gotta put that seed on people's mind of the style of music. And music changes all the time. That's the beauty of it. You can do
Absolutely.
so much. You can like you have reggaeton now. It's like for Maluma is pop, but it
Yep.
still like
Yep.
feels like reggaeton.
Yep.
So everybody gives different names to it, but it's kind of it's just a mixture of everything, and that's the beauty of
Lewis,
music.
Lewis, I got the best story. Um, Me and my family we got a condo out in South Beach,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And this is before it was really the place to be, and it was on Lincoln and Alton. If anybody knows that's the hot area now. But back in the days, I mean, we were like on the outskirts. We weren't by Ocean Drive or anything like that. We were in the outskirts. I remember in order to get to the hot spot, which is Ocean Drive, we had to drive, walk, or whatever, about 4 miles to get in there. So it was a distance. I would say it was not maybe not 4 miles, but maybe about 3.5. So
Like Evanston to Navy Pier.
yeah. Well, that's kind of not that far, but it was still like 1,700 north, and then Alton was like about 600 this way. So it's about 25 blocks away, maybe. So what I remember is that for the first time, I want to say it was 1992. I'm there at
Wow.
and this is the first time I hear La Macarena. Okay. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm seeing them do their whole dance part, right?
Right.
I was wowed. And I'm like, oh, who is this Los Del Rios? I was like, and I remember coming back to Chicago, and I was playing at this place called Quinn Street. This was a club, and I played it for them. And people were like, I mean, the floor didn't even, no, but everybody's kind of looking like, what the hell is this? And I, dude, you don't understand. This is going to be the shit. This is me telling everybody's like, you're out of your mind. This ain't going to be nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I
Right.
remember I got to the point where I went to the program director of B96. I won't mention his name, but people all know who it is. And I said, hey, this is going to be the next song. This is going to be the big hit. Wow, he did the same thing. You don't know what, man, we can't play Spanish music on here. Adios, get out of here. Ba-da-da. And it's just basically like, go out the door and with your tail between your legs. And I kept playing it. I kept playing it and playing it. I think it was I forgot what president it was playing it, and they were doing the whole Macarena. All of a sudden, the radio stations and all of them are playing it. And I call up the guy and it says, man, I told you about this 6 years ago, man. What the hell? What do you, like, and it just bewilders me, because I guess in the music business, especially when it comes to people who are supposed to be the know, they don't know, and it's just like, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but, in the history of doing this music, take a little credence, or take a little, be humble yourself and say, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe there is something to this, to this, what he's talking about. And, and I would probably tell that to anybody. If there's something to, and I'll give you a perfect example. It happened to me 8 years ago, and people are going to say, yeah, it's true. When I first started, dude, I was the first one. I don't care what the argument is saying. I was the first one to play Kazumba here in Chicago. I played it over at Alhambra Palace, and I remember people telling me the same thing. What's the shit you're playing? That ain't gonna be no. Well, look at now. Kazumba congresses, they have the live stream Kazumba here, and thousands of people and stuff like that. And so, hey, I knew it. I recognized it. I knew where it was going at. And not to say that I'm smarter than anyone else. It's just that, to me, it seems that a lot of people get closed-minded about music. And I think that's part of this, in any type of music. We just got to make sure that we're open to, because music is art. And stay focused on and art is art. That's what it says. Who likes Picasso? Who likes that different painter and stuff like that? Everyone has their taste. Doesn't mean it's crappy, it's terrible and stuff like that, because what is that saying? Someone's garbage is actually somebody's treasure, and so forth. That saying, where it's the same thing.
No, everybody's the same, man.
Right. And
everybody has different tastes. Some people like rock in Espanol. Some people will like reggaeton.
And they like them both sometimes. That's and that's what kind. So that's what, so I'm glad you brought that up. So now we have to talk some of the obvious here. So not to put it on your spot and stuff like that. But one of the things that happened, it probably happened about a month ago, is you posted up a video on Facebook. And that was kind of the first time that I heard that someone that I knew personally had COVID-19.
Right.
So obviously you're here now. God bless you for this, because you are obviously healthy. You recovered from it. Can you talk a little bit about it? I mean, obviously it's not a hoax for some people who think it is and stuff like that. Can you tell people, the seriousness, not seriousness? What words of advice can you say about this COVID-19 aspect of it? Since you're one of the guys who got sick.
Well, so for me, everything has started like on March 27. I was at work and I started feeling a little bit lightheaded. You know, I even told one of my managers, "Hey, you know what? I don't feel good. Can I go home early?" And then I believe this was a Monday, and then he was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you're done with your work, yeah, you can just go home." So once I got home, I started feeling a lot of body aches, and then on Tuesday, um, I started like having like high fever. So like since this sickness just barely started, like I wasn't sure it was like a cold or it was gonna be like the COVID-19. So I just took it like oh, I only have a cold, like I probably 2 3 days I'll be fine. So I told my manager, you know what, I think I'm gonna stay home today because I have high fever, and then I don't want to jinx it, but you know, could be that I might be infected. So I don't want to put people at risk, even though I didn't know if I had it or not.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, that's fine. We're just going to give you PTO and stay at home. So April 1st was the first day that I got temperature with high fever. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I still having fever and it wouldn't go away. I started having chills. I started feeling like really weird. And on Thursday, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to a doctor just to get a little checkup. So
Can I interrupt you? Didn't you do
yeah,
a live feed just before that too? That weekend?
yeah. On a Saturday, I did I was DJing live that Saturday of the weekend that started, and then I was feeling fine. I just did it because like two friends came over, and then they told me, oh, why don't you just DJ for us? And I'm like, sure. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just put like a Facebook Live. So I was doing, I was DJing that weekend, and I was feeling perfect. I was even drinking.
Right. No, no. I seen the video and stuff like that. I thought it was
Yeah,
kind of weird because I seen it live stream and all of a sudden the next time I see a video, you're in the hospital. That
yeah.
was
It was rough. So after I went to the clinic, that's where they first did my COVID test. For those of you that don't know what they do with the test, it's about like it's like a little straw about this size, and they put it up your nose all the way in. And to be honest, I mean, for me, it hurted like a motherfucker. It was really
well, I'm
painful.
sure
Even
because you're not sticking things that long inside your head,
right,
first of all.
exactly. So I
So
even got a little tear when they
oh,
did it to me, and then they did both sides.
oh,
So they did that, and then they did like a mouth swab. So the doctor was like, "No, it's probably just a cold. Just go home and take some Tylenol for the fever every 6 hours." So those of you that don't know how to have your fever down, um, I would recommend to take Tylenol 500, 2 pills every 6 hours. I mean, you gotta be an adult, obviously. Kids, I don't wanna. That's different. So do not give them the Tylenol 500 to the kids because that's too strong for them. But if you're like 18 and up, and then if you have that,
that
I
helped you a
recommend
lot
that.
though. That helped you a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
because every 6 hours I will take it. My fever will go down, and once the effect will pass, it will go back up. So my fever was about 103.
Ooh,
It will go down
that's high.
to 98, and it will go back up.
Right.
So I was like that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then within those days, I lost my sense of taste and my sense of a smell. So I remember one day there was my mom gave me some food, and I told her like, "Man, what is this?" And she was like, "What do you mean? What is this? This food? Like what I normally give you?" She has, I think she was giving me like I think we did a carne asada. So I was eating the carne asada and I couldn't taste anything. Like I even put like hot sauce, just what you really put in a carne asada, guacamole and
You
stuff.
you were looking for that taste, for our
Yeah,
taste.
so exactly. So I tried it and I was like, what the hell is this? This tastes horrible. Like I don't feel it. And then I at that point I didn't know that that's what you actually have.
Yeah. Besides
You
insulting your
lose your
mom, and
taste.
besides insulting your mom.
Yeah. And I told my mom, like, man, like my stepdad didn't really cook it that well. So ma after that, and that was a Saturday. On Sunday I kept coughing a lot. Um and then Monday, the whole day I was coughing, and then for some reason it was hard for me like make sentences. So I was coughing, and then I started having trouble breathing. When I started having trouble breathing, my mom was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take you to the hospital." And then psychologically, you get really scared. To be honest, like I was like, "Man, what I'm gonna do?" Like, oh man, what about if I have it? And then you see in the TV that all these people are dying in New York, all these people are dying in Europe. It's like, why am I gonna be like the different person that is not gonna die? And I told my mom like, I don't want to go because I feel like I felt like I was gonna die.
Right.
Having all this negativity in the news, you don't really know anybody that has it. It was really
Well,
scary.
you're going through anxiety, basically.
Right. So you start getting the anxiety, you start getting scared, you start thinking really use all the bad things that you see on Facebook. Like at the time there was like videos or of people like on the hospital beds, they couldn't breathe, and like there was like there nothing that they could do. Like there was no respirators at that time.
Right.
So you see all these videos, all this negative stuff on the internet, and then you get like like super scared. I was like, no, I don't want to go. My mom was like, no, you have to go because look, you can barely breathe. So I was like, you know what, whatever happens happens. And then I got in the car. While on the ride to the car, my mom just started telling me, you will be fine. I'll be praying for you, like, just text me once you're there. So once I got to the ER, three people just came out. They saw the car pulled up. Three people came out, and then the first thing they asked me was like, "Can you breathe?" And I was like, "I can breathe, but it's really hard for me to do it." So they were like, "Okay, you know what? We're gonna check you out. Just come here to the front desk." So I barely was able to walk to the front desk. Then, obviously they ask you for your ID, your insurance card, whatever. So I give them all that, and they gave me like a hospital bed, like the ER bed, and then they did that COVID-19 test again. So they went off my notes again, but I already knew what to expect. But it wasn't hurtful as the first time because I was already kind of prepared. So they did it again. They did an X-ray, and they started taking blood off of me. Like they took a lot of blood the first time I got there. Um, they even took some, I forgot what like for an artery. They pinch you and they take out like artery out of your hand, and they take out plasma and stuff. So that one was really, that hurt a lot. So after that, they told me they didn't have beds for like the COVID-19 floor that they had prepared. So they told me, oh, you know what, you're gonna have to be here for the whole night, and then we're gonna move you to a smaller room. So they moved me to a smaller room. That's where they told me, you know what, if you're having trouble breathing, we're gonna have to put oxygen. And then they gave me some oxygen, and then that was the only way that I could kind of breathe or have the oxygen go to my lungs. Um, since they needed like oxygen to go to my lungs, they told me to kind of you know have the bed all the way down so I could be like flat, and then oxygen will go to my lungs. Because if you're like sitting down, usually you are like this, so
Right.
like it's hard for the oxygen to go down. Um, so once I was there, it was a funny story. Once I'm there, I was like, oh, I need to use the washroom. What can I do? And then she's like, oh, you cannot use the washroom. And I'm like, why not? And then they were like, well, you might be infected, and then there's a lot more patients that use that room, so you cannot use the room. It's only for patients that we think are not infected. So I was like, what should I do then? Because I really needed to go. And they brought this like little chair. That was the first time that I saw it. They brought this little chair, and then bring like a container in your room, and that's where you have to go.
Right.
I was,
Right.
oh my god, this is so embarrassed. So yeah, that's like
If
horrible, horrible,
people
horrible.
who have to take care of older people, that's chair is very common, and trust me, that's something I remember with my mom and stuff like that, because she was in care home and
Right.
stuff like that. That's something that is very common, and it's very surreal in the sense of what you went through. I'm sure we can laugh about it now because you're here and now and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But you were in the hospital. So when did you made that first video? What day after you were
So
admitted to the?
that was on Thursday morning, 1 a.m. So on Wednesday they have returned my test, and then they had told me uh, that was confirmed infected with the virus. Um, like a day, like a Tuesday before, I was still hoping that it was not. And then even the nurse, I remember when the nurse was like, "Yeah, you probably infected. Most likely you are." So I was like, "What? What can you say that? Like, just give me a little hope." And then when she said that, I got really sad and scared, like more than I already was.
Um,
But on Wednesday that they confirmed it, I was like, "Well, I'm here. Might as well just keep going with whatever they give me and whatever care they have prepared, I guess, for the people that are infected. Um, every day they will take out blood. Every day there's different stages of how much oxygen pressure goes into your nose. So if you can breathe, they jump it up to a higher number. Um, Also, they'll bring me food like breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
so
and then
they're checking for your air capacity in your lung is what they're doing, right? They're checking to see how
yeah.
much.
Also, yeah,
Yeah.
they there's this little machine that they hook to your finger, and then they can tell how much oxygen you're receiving in your lungs.
Right.
So they try to keep it like between 92 and 100. So that they check that every 3 hours. So every 3 hours, someone will go in and check my blood pressure, my oxygen, and if I need more oxygen, of course, they will pump it up. Um, when I was in the room, I was delirious sometimes. Sometimes I will feel a lot of anxiety. Uh, I wasn't scared anymore, but there's this. I got kind of treatment of 9 pills and some IV that they put in your veins. That every time they will do it, like it will make me see things. Sometimes like I would feel like the clock wasn't moving. Um, and then sometimes I would feel like if I look to the side of the bed, there was a big hole. Um, so it was very scary, to be honest. Obviously, I cried a little
Yeah,
bit.
I know, dude, and
Yeah.
that's
Um, if you saw, I don't know if you saw the video. I did it in Spanish because I was in. I speak more Spanish than English,
yeah, I know.
so I I just did it for my family in Guatemala too, so they know, and just to bring out, just to bring out like the attention that virus has gotten to our city, and just to listen to people stay at home because um, that the this virus is not a joke at all. Like it's really scary to be there because you don't know if you're gonna get out. You don't know if you're gonna be able to see your you know your loved ones, your mom, your dad, if you have kids, just people that you love. You
And you
don't know if you're
and you
gonna
have
make it.
kids, and you have
Yeah,
kids,
yeah, I have two kids. Yeah,
right? So that's that. There you go. I mean, that's that in itself. Besides your mom and dad, but you have two little ones that
exactly.
you're thinking
So,
about. So,
and then a lot of people ask me like, how do you get the virus? And I'm like, to be honest, like, you don't know. I don't know. Like, I was doing what everybody's being told to do. Every time you go out, every time you do something, you just wash your hands. So I would wash my hands at work every hour or every 2 hours. They gave us disinfectant, so I would spray my desk all the time. Um, I was staying away from people. Um, just doing basically what the government has said to do.
right.
Um, I think where what I might have gotten it was, let's say, for example, I went to a supermarket by my house. When you grab one of like the the shopping carts, or let's say you open a refrigerator, or you basically any door that you have to touch any metal, you don't know if the person before you has the virus, and then they can just grab it and then leave like some type of germ in there, and then there you go, you open it, and then it's like a natural reaction to just touch your face here and there.
Right.
So at the time, there wasn't like a mask. You didn't they were implementing the mask or anything.
Right.
So people was just like walking like nothing.
Right.
So I think I got it at a supermarket, or let's say if you go to a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, you don't know if one of those people that are making the food has it. Um,
Yeah, they weren't implementing the stuff they were implementing
right,
after,
exactly. So it barely started, so people,
right.
don't know, didn't know how to react.
Well,
Uh,
one thing is I could say honestly, and I haven't heard you say it, but your mom and dad didn't get it, right? Your mom did it. Your mom,
Actually, my mom and my stepdad, they did get it.
okay,
They were confirmed positive after a week.
okay,
Um, so my stepdad, he had to go to the hospital. He was in the same situation as me.
okay.
He needed oxygen, had all the symptoms. For him, it was a little strong because his um, temperature was a little higher than mine. He was like
Oof,
a 104,
wow.
105. I only reached up to 103. So they had him with a lot of bags of ice. So when you're in the hospital and then, obviously the temperature has to go down, they give you like bags of ice. You put it like in your sides, you put it in your neck, they put it also on your chest to make
Bring
the
the temperature
fever
down.
go
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I only had two. He had like seven of those bags.
Oof.
As yeah, he's a little older, obviously. So I guess for him it was a little
Are
tougher.
they recovered already? Are they
Yeah,
fine?
my stepdad, after a week, he was sent home
Okay.
with oxygen. I went home with oxygen too. And after 2 days, usually you don't need it anymore, but it's hard to breathe after those 2 days. But you have to train your lungs to be able to breathe on their own again. And my mom, for her, it was she had like mild symptoms. Even though she was confirmed, like she 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 had a little fever, headaches. She lost the smell and taste. She had the same symptoms as we and my stepdad did, but after a week, for her it went away.
I think that's one of the things they said, that for men, for some reason, the men, it affects them worse than the women. I think that was part of they were kind of saying in the news.
Yes,
They,
yes, and I have experienced it because after I did those videos, a lot of people reached out to me uh, for medical advice. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but since I went through it, I kind of explained the process of it.
right.
And then, man, there's been a lot of people, especially this week. This week, I for some reason I think has jumped in that our area. People getting more contagious around us. Um, so I try to give positive vibes to people. Try to give them hope. At the time, nobody was actually talking about it because nobody close to us had it. So I was trying to be, that person that you go to and ask questions, and that's how I open um, my communication with people. And then you will be surprised, so many people that have reached out to me, and then I hope everybody that reached out to me, they're doing better. I
Well, I
still
hope,
follow up with some people, and
right. I hope people that hear this right now, they're paying attention. It's because it feels like we still don't know. I mean, there's so many
yeah, you
unknowns.
don't know what to
It-
expect.
right.
Like I asked the doctor the question of, you think I'm gonna have it again next year, or like I can get contagious again and have like the same symptoms and probably be back at the hospital? And then his answer was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's gonna be recurrent, if you're gonna have it again,
What
because
about
it's very
the?
new.
What about? And I'm sure you probably asked this question. I'm going to ask for my end. Have they reached out to you about giving plasma, giving
Yeah,
antibiotic?
they did.
You
Yeah,
know,
they did last week. They're supposed to
yeah.
call me this week to get some plasma, but they haven't reached out to me. I'm guessing because it's either they're really busy getting new patients, because a lot of our area jumped on with a lot of new cases. So it might be that, or that list that they have is too many. They couldn't call everybody. I don't know. I actually been calling the hospital because in order for me to go back to work, I need like a note for the doctor saying
Yeah,
that I'm
a
okay.
release form,
And
basically.
then I haven't been able to contact my doctor that took care of me, or any doctor that could make the note.
Right.
And then so now my job, since they require it, since that note, I cannot go back to work, and I need to go back to work.
Right. Oh, Jesus Christ. So,
Yeah.
so you obviously you're hearing on the news. People are, they're storming the all the mayor's office and so forth, and protesting that they want to get back to norm. People are walking without their mask and stuff like that. Uh, what is your feeling on that when you see people doing all that and seeing people not doing exactly what was?
Well, to be honest, in my opinion, everybody is going to have the virus.
Mhm.
It's inevitable. I think we are dragging it by just staying at home. I
Okay.
know it's scary, and then what I'm gonna say, you will probably hurt a lot of people, and a lot of people will get mad. But this is life, and this is always has been like that. If you die or COVID, you're gonna die, man. Like
So,
it's
so you believe
it's
the inevitable. the inevitable that this is going to, that,
Yeah, this is we just dragging it. Um, and then the reason they're doing it is because they don't want all the people to be at the hospital at the same time,
Mhm.
because there is not enough manpower, or a lot of nurses or doctors in this case, to
Right.
take care of everybody. We know for a fact that not everybody is gonna survive it.
Mhm.
We know for a fact that if you get it and you are sick, let's say you have asthma or you have any type of respiratory illnesses, cancer or whatever, most likely, you might die. And then it's something that like you don't hear in the news, but it's the truth. Like, and then I guess a lot of people have come to realize that, okay, if I don't die from having the infection, I might die of hunger, because everybody needs to eat, everybody needs a job, everybody needs money to buy uh, their food, they need to pay bills. Yeah, the government sent like 1,200, but what about the people who are not citizens? What about the people who are married to someone that doesn't have papers? They didn't get that money. I didn't get that money. My kids are born here. I was not born here. I'm still in the process of becoming a resident. So, for example, for me, I need to go back to work.
Right,
So,
right.
and
So, I
then
mean,
I think,
I just want to make sure that, people don't, I know what you're saying. Um, I guess there's two train of thoughts here, and that's what we talk about when there's the interviews. We took two train of thoughts. There's a train of thought of being cautious, and a train of thought of being where, listen, it's just like you walk out of your door. What's to stop a bullet coming in from anywhere? You can't stay scared for the rest of your life and stay inside and think that's going to save you and stuff like that.
true,
At the same time, I know that, you prevent the bullet from, because if you hear shots, you don't go outside and stuff like that. So
or
there's
you just
those.
move neighborhoods.
Yeah, but at the same time, people are driving and they die of car accidents. And what does that mean? You're never going to drive again because people are dying of car accidents, and that's just life.
Exactly.
I just want to make sure people don't get that kind of what's called, because you went through it, you survived it and stuff like that. But then there's also the people that have parents that have died of it, and but your parents got sick and stuff like that. So it's a scary aspect of, like, do I go out there, do I get sick, do I come back and bring it to my parents and they get sick? And here, like for instance, my dad has COPD, right? So it's obviously scary that, I don't want him getting sick and stuff like that, because
Of course,
he has
you don't
the
want to lose it. You don't
right,
want to
right,
lose your loved one.
right. And then the fact that I lost my mom just past November, I don't, you're going to want to hang on as much as you can. So I mean, I understand your
Yeah, it's
point.
survival. Like, you always want to be here in this world.
Right.
So you're gonna do whatever it takes to survive. What I'm basically saying is, from my point of view, everybody's gonna have it. You eventually are gonna have to get immune to it. Whatever vaccine they'll bring out is gonna be like the others, that they're actually gonna insert that virus on you, so your body can fight it off, and learn how to fight off the virus.
Right.
Um, since this is very new, and we never seen it in our generation,
Well,
doesn't mean it had
technically,
happened before.
technically, it's been around for a while. It's been around for a long
Right,
time.
exactly.
It's just that this strain has not been here. It evolved into something and stuff like that.
Or someone
So,
made it evolve.
wow, yeah. I mean, we can think of
There's
all the
different.
different, yeah, different theories, stuff like that. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's um there has been COVID
Mhm.
been around for a while. In fact, they talk about SARS and one H1. Those are the COVIDs. Those are COVIDs as well and stuff like that. But this is just
Yeah,
has
this one is just as strong, and
eh,
has like a is better modified or whatever. But throughout humanity, you always have seen like plagues like this. and it's just that we just haven't had it in our generation. But you know, like I said, like whoever whoever's gonna die is gonna die. Is something cold, but we have to kind of accept the fact that is eventually is gonna happen. I know maybe I'll lose one of my family members to it, and then by staying at home, we just dragging it, uh, and it's and then it's fine, like if you stay at home, like you want to be safe, and that's good. I'm not saying it is wrong, but I'm just saying it's like you have to get prepared always for the worst.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people. I seen the people downtown. A lot of people are against it. I really understand where they're coming from. They just want to eat, and then eventually, if the government cannot like support everyone at the same time, it's impossible. We are too many. He's
But
giving out free money, but
right, well, but
um,
that's the whole point. They can't support everyone. They can't provide the beds for everyone. They can't, so
right,
so what, us staying, we can't stay in forever. We can't go out forever. We can't, so it's really messed up because we're stuck between a hard place and a rock. That's
right,
kind of where everything's at this point because, trust me, I want everything to go normal and stuff like that. I want everybody to party. Dude, I'm going to tell you something happened today. I got a phone call today and everybody knows I have the oldest customer that has been with me. He's 86 years old. His name is Major. Calls me up today. He's 86 years old. Hey, when are we going back to normal? He's 86 years old. And, he called me up and, God bless him. He had told me that his wife had just passed a couple of days ago, but nothing of the COVID or anything like that. She was 84 years old.
right.
But here's a man, and we talked about it, about his wife and stuff. She's 84 years old, and he's kind of had the realization. He says, you know what? She's done good. She's 84 years old. She raised all 8 of my kids, and she moved on. It's time. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It wasn't like he stayed inside or prevented her from going outside because at 84 years old, she's at that time and she had passed. And the same thing, like and of course you feel bad for him because, he's 86 years old, but his main concern is, when are we going to go out salsa dance? When is salsa dancing going to happen? And everybody who knows Major,
Everybody feels the same. Yeah.
yeah, and here's the 86-year-old man not worried about the virus. He's basically saying, and I think that's kind of where it all comes down to where the argument is, man, if I'm going to go, I want to go out having fun per se, not irresponsible fun, but just saying that,
Right. Just enjoy your last years.
enjoy your life as life, because, are you really living if you're not living? That's
True. That's true.
that's the whole thing, because right now we're not living. There's not a lot of people here. Even though we're alive, we're not living. And that's the
Yeah, we
really
are. That's true.
that's the real.
Yeah, I just think it's just that point, man, that uh, we don't have the manpower to have so many people infected at the same time. That's why we are staying at home. The government knows that it's inevitable to that people would not have it. I guess people don't want to say it, but it's true. I mean, now that I have it and I went through it, when I go to the store, I still wear my mask. I still stay away from people the 6 feet that's recommended, because I gotta respect the others. The people that don't have it, they haven't gone through it. They're scared, and I know they're scared. And
Right.
then since I have it, already feel like I there's nothing else that can happen to me other than they probably get it again. And then if I have to go, well, I have to
Right.
go. But my point is that I'm not scared to go out anymore. I mean, I guess once you have it, you change your mind of being so protective of yourself.
Right.
Um,
Well, you have a different perspective than all of us per
right,
se.
exactly.
That's and, you know, and I
Exactly.
don't.
You need to go through it in order
Oh,
to
thanks a
get to
lot,
this
Louis.
mentality.
Thanks a lot, Louis. Yeah, thank you. You know what?
But
And I'm gonna tell a bunch of people. You know what? And I think a lot of us have said it already. And you know, and I know time is a little over, but this is the truth. I think I had it in January. I think
mhm,
I remember I got sick, like what you said. I don't think I lost the taste and stuff like that. But dude, I was bad, man. The fever, the coughing and stuff like that, dude, that was bad. I think there's some of us that are going to get it just like your mom got it. You know, kind of the less
right,
effect to it per se.
right. And those people are the ones walking around. I'm guessing infecting others because they don't know that they did
Right.
have it. They thought it was like a mild cold,
Right.
and
And
bam.
there and I think there's a lot of people that had it in December, January, and February, and they survived it. And they don't even know. I
Yeah, you
wish
know what?
I wish there was a test to know if you had it. Then I think there would be more like
Right.
if you knew you had it, I think everybody in this world would be kind of like, okay, we had it. That's it. Let's go forward. That's
So I have a friend that went to New York in December, and then in January, if I asked him like what you felt, and then he gave me all the exact symptoms that I had. Just that when he went to the hospital, they told him you don't have anything, and then
yep.
he was like, "What do you mean I don't have anything? I have
Uh,
fever. I have all these symptoms." And then in January, like nobody knew what the hell COVID was because
right.
like you can only hear it in China. So he's like, "Yeah, I probably had it. I just I couldn't breathe and I was just at home." And then when I went to the hospital, they told me I don't have anything because they did all the cancer tests.
But
But
they didn't know what they were testing for back in the days.
exactly.
That's
And then
exactly.
he has two daughters that are like about a year, and the other one is 3, and they both had it too. And then I'm pretty sure he has 4 kids, so I'm pretty sure everybody in his family had it.
Yep.
It's just it's just January nobody knew what the hell COVID was, and then in February we started getting cases, and there was so many
You had
jokes
a
about
label
it.
for it. You had a label
Right.
for it. Yeah. I think a lot of people they don't even and talking to a lot of people, and this is just everybody that I've talked to on Facebook and common friends and stuff like that. We all kind of said the same thing. Man, I think I've had it. I had it in January, I had it in December, had it in November per se. I think that's where the big unknowns are. That's where everybody's kind of like, we don't know, because there are people that are going to get affected like you in the
Hmm.
sense of having to go to hospital. And there's going to be people who just say, you know what, stay home and stay in bed. And, 14 days later, go back to normal and we got a
What I
little cough.
what I seen also from talking to people, from people also that have reached out to me, the kids, let's say ages 3 to 13, they also get just mild symptoms. They don't really get like the symptoms like we as an adult get.
Right.
Um, I also spoke with a person who was 20, 21. He was really bad like me. He had fever. He had to go to the hospital. And then the women that I have spoken to, most of them uh, haven't had like a strong system. It also has been always mild symptoms. So I kind of see a trend of how everybody is doing. So I guess it's always hard for men. The virus is gonna affect you more,
Right.
especially if you smoke any type of smoke. Is gonna be hard for you. So
Yep. Yep.
if
I
you
agree with that.
all the smokers there, like you should stop smoking at least for this type of period, because if you get it, man, it's gonna be really really painful for
What
you.
was you and your dad a smoker?
No, no,
You
we
step-
didn't smoke. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what,
I mean, I will smoke occasionally. Like, let's say if I go to a bar, um, and I was hanging out with friends, drinking at a bar or something, I would smoke. Um, but I also seen that since this whole staying at home uh, period, a lot of people started smoking more. A lot of people
Mm,
started smoking more weed. A lot of people started smoking cigarettes because a lot of people started getting anxiety. A lot of people started getting scared,
right.
and then you know that really doesn't help. So if you smoke, just
Well,
kind of quit it for a little bit.
I think that's where, again, it goes back to the whole thing, Lewis, where what we do as DJs, and I'm going to bring it back to the music aspect, the music and stuff like that. And thank you, thank God, and thank God, I got people telling me, thank God you're healthy, God, thank God, God bless you, everybody's you're
Mhm.
doing better and stuff like that. So I say the same thing to you. Thank God, but also I believe that we, the DJs, are here because exactly what you said about the anxiety and stuff like that. I'm dealing with a family member that has anxiety right now. And if there's one thing I know is music makes everybody enjoy them. Music is a drug for a lot of people in the sense that it releases endorphins. It just makes people happy. There's good feelings, stuff like that. So if there's one thing I can tell you is that people who love dancing, people who listen to music, people who go out to the clubs, generally live a good life. They can live a good life. And I think if I could, I wish there was a way that we could say, you want to stop the club and stop the nightlife aspect of it. And this is, and I'm not trying to be selfish in the sense it's me, but I'm just saying in general that talking to all my dancers that are out there and all the people that are the musicians and all the DJs and stuff like that, you got to agree with me, man. If there's one thing that makes us happy is a crowd response to what we do.
Yeah,
and
of course.
and I feel happy, they feel happy, everybody's happy, everybody's a good time. We have a
Yeah,
couple of
the
drinks and
DJ always gets the hype from their public.
yep.
Like there is no greater feeling to see 1,000 people dancing to whatever you're playing. Uh, for those of you that are not DJs, probably will never feel that. But us as DJs, seeing 1,000 people in front of you dancing, and then when you get on the microphone and then you say put your hands up and everybody does it at the same time, it's just like so rewarding that I sometimes I would do DJ for free, to be honest. It
Good
you
to
know
know.
I yeah, to be honest, I do like well, a lot of promoters didn't pay, but like I
Hey,
go,
hey, I
so
paid. You know that.
no, you're good. No, but like I I don't mind DJing at all. Like
Right.
every time I go to a wedding, I enjoyed it. Like every wedding that I've been to is been a really great memory. And then I just feel myself with that positive vibe, and then it just keeps me going.
But I think
It's
that
a feeling that I'm pretty sure you also have.
listen from me behind the turntables or the computer or CD player to the musician that's playing, the
Mhm.
artist that's singing, the people that are dancing on the floor, the manager of the club, the bartenders, and every aspect of the industry. And
Mhm.
that's what that's and I think that's where I think this show and I'm going to bring up the show aspect of it is that's one of the things that even though live streaming is doing what it's doing, at least for this show, I would hope that it also brings the reminder out there that besides just the music, we're giving people the reminder that it's just not about the music, it's about the people, you, me, and everybody else that's being
The
interviewed.
barback, the
Yeah, I mean,
bartender,
oh,
the
absolutely, yeah, dude.
janitor, the people that sells uh, the perfume at the bathroom. Uh,
Exactly, dude, all of it.
there's a lot to it people don't know. People, once you get to a place, oh, the DJ, the lights, and then you think that's it. It's a lot of more work than that. And I'm pretty
The guy
sure you
selling
all,
tacos outside and hot dogs outside, the
right,
taqueria.
exactly, exactly. So,
All those factors are part of the industry, and and I think this is causing a bad domino effect in the sense
yeah, of
of that
course.
people,
I feel like we've been heard one of the most entertainers, all the concerts, all that money that's gonna be
The
lost.
picnics, the
This
festivals, we could go
yeah,
on and on. Oh my
the
God, it's
block
just,
parties,
oh, dude, that boat
uh,
parties, you name it,
boat
the,
party. Yeah, exactly.
the
I feel
congresses, the
like
festivals.
nobody's gonna feel comfortable being around so many people at the same time, especially if you haven't had the virus. I feel like this year is not a celebration here. um,
And
Even though there's a lot of weddings that I have for October, I still feel like a lot of people still gonna be resent to going just because I'm pretty sure about August or whatever, this thing is not gonna go away. It's still gonna be here from now forever. So like I said,
and I don't know how I'm going to survive without working until
yeah,
August.
it's a
You
great
know,
income. It's
no,
a
but I'm
loss.
just, yeah, I mean, but I don't know, but I'm just not, I'm talking about me, but I'm just saying, and everybody, I know there's essential workers and stuff like that, but if you know, reading online to small business people and stuff like that, you're preventing small business. Listen, it's all across the board. It's from the people that El Milagro taco, the tortilla place and stuff
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's just
man,
like,
I'm gonna
oh
miss
my,
their chips.
you know. Oh, Mariano's had them, by the way, for $2.99. I just let you.
Oh, okay.
The chips are there, not the tortillas. The chips are there, and stuff like that. So I mean, I just see all those intricate parts of this life, and it's just not. It's not. And I don't like it. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't like it. I'm sure that there's going to be the people who are downtown, protesting and stuff like that. And then at the same time, it's also like those people, and I see the things on Facebook,
Well,
you
how do
idiot.
you feel about that? Like, how do you from your perspective, you see all these people protesting in different states
Well,
about
I
going back to
understand why
work,
people are protesting. I
right?
understand why they're protesting for and con, you know, pro and con. I see both sides of it. I don't like it, and I don't like it. And I'm saying both sides. I don't like it being pro, and I don't like it being con. I don't like them both sides because there's
Well,
truly
if someone would ask
no
you,
one's going
would
to
you
be a winner.
open? If someone asks you, would you open the at least barbershops, restaurants? What would you say?
It says it, and this is all about psychology at this point. This is all about psychology. So if you're going to open up, do it with the mask, do it with the gloves, and do it like do it with the precautions until people get comfortable
Right,
with it. Because this
right.
is all about psychology at this point. Because psychologically, right now, we're all anxiety driven. That's what is going on right now. I think in order to see what happens and to see, and it's again, it has to let I we call this war, right? That's what they're calling it, war, right? And
It
I
is a
know
word.
right,
It
but
is
we're calling this war, right? If we're fighting a
a
war,
silent word.
no, but if we're fighting a war against an enemy, you don't stand behind the lines and just wait to see what the enemy does. You have to go in front of
Hmm.
lines and fight. And this
Exactly.
is and nobody wants to fight. And that's what I mean. You have to, just like I look at
Right.
the
We had to
wars,
push back.
you
We
have
have to push back.
and I think that's where there has to be a line drawn. There has to be where you advance and stuff like that. Because if you don't advance, you don't know how powerful your enemy is, or the guy you're fighting against. Because guess what? Yes, you can lose, the reality, but yes, you could win. That's part of war, and this is a war that we're fighting. What do you call it? So you want to treat it like a war? Let's fight it like a
Yeah, I
war,
mean,
and
you.
basically do what we got to do. So hence the barbershops and all the nail salons and hair
I
salons and
mean,
stuff like that.
you see people in one. I've seen a lot of videos. People in one, they still wear masks, they still wear gloves, and then they're opening up businesses because they know they have to open. So I feel like we have to open with the precautions that everybody has to take. I've seen restaurants in some states that open, and then let's say, for example, instead of having table next to each other, they just give them like 6 feet from each other, and then when people serve their food, they wear a mask with gloves, and they give them their food. People want to get it back to normal. Everybody wants their normal lives back. Obviously, it's not gonna be as the same, but with wearing a mask or gloves, you will have the feeling again. And then I feel like we have to stop being scared, because it's not taking us anywhere. We as the economy every day keeps shrinking. I'm if I don't start working this week, I'm gonna start using my savings, which I don't want to do.
Yep.
But all the people that live day to day, let's say for example,
Or check by
you
check,
pay
or yeah,
bills,
yeah, right, right,
people who
right.
pay rent and they cannot work, and then they have their landlords. You know what? I don't care what your position is. I want my money.
Yep.
And then even though they probably like the mortgage company gave them a few months, they still want to get that money, because it's just some people are just greedy like that. Or you see all these cases of people getting drunk at their house to start abusing their wives,
Yep. Yep.
hitting their kids. So there's gonna be a line where, you know what, we have to start going back to work. And then I feel like we do have to start going back to work. Just take the precautions that we need to
Right.
take.
I agree. I agree. I agree. So that we went overtime. I know that about hour and a half, but it's
Right,
okay
like
because
one
I'm
hour and a
glad.
half.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked and stuff like that. And I'm getting lines and stuff. You'll see what you call it. The cool thing is that people will play. I really, really hope that people listen to everything you had to say and stuff like that. I know we spent
Thank
almost
you.
an hour talking about what the COVID aspect of it and stuff like that. But I knew this was going to be a discussion that we were going to talk about, not
Uh-huh.
just about your music career and stuff like that, but also because of the fact that you are the survivor of COVID, and that I think is something that I wanted to hear your perspective, and I think people hear this perspective. We talked about exactly what the pros and cons and stuff like that. Um, you know, Louis, thank you very much, man.
Oh no, man! Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was quick. It went quite quick for me. I know it went
Yeah, I
quick for
did.
you.
Yeah, man, we can. I can sit and talk all day because I have nothing to do.
That's hence but I mean, I also want to thank for everybody that logs in and watches and stuff like that. You'll see the views and stuff. I'll send you the views and stuff like that. um yeah, so do me a favor, stay online, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Any last words you want to say to people that are out there? I mean, about your career, about everything, anything that you want to tell them.
Well, if you need a DJ for your wedding next year or this year, you just contact me. I'm pretty sure he tagged me on the links. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening to what I had to say. I know these are difficult times, but I feel like if we all work together, if we all put like positive minds, positive thoughts, we will overcome all these diseases, all these deaths. Um, we are humans. We doesn't matter what we do. We always gonna be together. We always gonna share this world together. So just try to peace. Hope everybody's safe. Always stay at home. Hopefully not for too long, so we can go back to work because we need money for food. If you have any questions, you think you need some input on how this disease works, or the anything you want to talk to me about psychologically, physically, about the the COVID-19, please reach out to me. I am one person that I'm not gonna close my doors. Even though if I don't know you, I'm more than happy to listen to you and give you my advice. And once again, thank you for Prieto for having me. I appreciate it, and just be safe.
Cool. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it. This is got the front door show. You see the replay after this is all done.